Welcome to the Papyrus Global Television News Update on Africa. I am Christiana Babayo. Here are today's headlines. Djibouti President Ismaïl Omar Guelleh secures sixth term amid criticism over democratic space. You are not alone. Pope Leo XIV delivers message of hope to prisoners in Equatorial Guinea. South Africa inflation ticks higher as education and housing costs rise. Second set of rare gorilla twins born in DR Congo, Reserve Goma, DR Congo. UAE-backed Colombian mercenaries provided support to Sudan paramilitary, report says. Zambia's government takes possession of ex-president's body in repatriation row. Men caught competing in women's category of prestigious South Africa marathon. Gen Z protesters toppled Madagascar's president. Should other African leaders worry? From Lagos to Berkeley College, Tiwa Savage to train 100 next-generation creators. EGP 80 billion allocated in FY 2026-2027 budget to boost production exports, Finance Minister. And now the news in details. A rare set of endangered mountain gorilla twins has been born in Virunga National Park in Democratic Republic of Congo. Park officials say the newborns are both male. Scientists say fewer than 1% of mountain gorilla pregnancies result in twins, making the birth highly unusual. It is the second recorded case of gorilla twins in the reserve after a similar birth in 2020. Virunga, Africa's oldest national park, remains a key sanctuary despite ongoing conflict and insecurity in eastern Congo. Djibouti President Ismaïl Omar Guelleh has been re-elected for a sixth term after official results showed he won 97.81% of votes cast in Friday's election. The 78-year-old leader has ruled the Horn of Africa nation since 1999. He faced only one challenger, while several opposition groups boycotted the poll, citing restrictions on political freedoms. Supporters celebrated the victory, but critics described the election as a foregone conclusion. Djibouti remains strategically important, hosting military bases for the United States, China, France, and Japan. Pope Leo XIV has visited prisoners in Equatorial Guinea, telling inmates at Bata prison that they are not alone and remain loved by God. The visit came amid renewed scrutiny of the country's human rights record and prison conditions. Addressing inmates, the Pope said the Church would stand by them and urged authorities to see justice as more than punishment. His visit formed part of his four-nation Africa tour and echoed the prison outreach often carried out by Pope Francis. South Africa inflation edged higher in March, rising to 3.1% of the 3.0% in February, according to Statistics South Africa. The increase was driven mainly by higher housing, utilities, and education costs. Tuition fees rose 5.4%, with private education up to 7.5%. Food inflation eased slightly to 3.6%, while prices for fruits, vegetables, cereals, and dairy declined. Transport costs remain lower than a year ago, but analysts warn April fuel price hikes could increase inflation in the coming months. A new report by Conflict Insights Group alleges UAE-backed Colombian mercenaries helped Sudan's Rapid Support Forces capture El Fasher during the civil war. Investigators say mobile phone tracking linked fighters to operations in Sudan through bases in the United Arab Emirates. The UAE has repeatedly denied supporting the RSF. El Fasher's fall was marked by reports of atrocities and mass displacement. The war in Sudan has killed thousands and created one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. We will now go on a short break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Stay with us.
The Papyrus Global launches new series starting Tuesday, 3rd March 2026. The conversation starts now across Africa. Our languages may differ, our borders may separate us, but our struggles bear semblance. Communities seeking opportunities, youth demanding inclusion, citizens calling for transparency. These are realities that unite us. Africa is united by a common challenge and a common responsibility, building resilient, inclusive, and sustainable communities. To set this conversation in motion, the Papyrus Global is launching the pre-conference live series, Governance That Touches Lives. Let's start where it matters the most.
Welcome back, and now the news will continue. The Zambia government says it has taken possession of former President Edgar Lungu's body in South Africa, despite objections from his family. Authorities want Lungu buried with full state honors in Lusaka's presidential burial suit. His family is seeking a private burial, saying that was his wish. The dispute reflects a long-running political feud between Lungu and President Hakainde Hichilema. Lungu died in Pretoria last June at age 68. His family has launched a fresh court challenge. 2 men have been disqualified from the Two Oceans Marathon after competing in the women's category using race bibs assigned to female runners. Luke Jacobs and Nick Bradfield initially finished 7th and 10th in the women's race before officials uncovered the deception. Organizers say the results have now been corrected and the legitimate women runners reinstated. The annual race in Cape Town attracts more than 16,000 participants. Disciplinary action is now expected. Youth-led protests in Madagascar backed by the military have forced President Andry Rajoelina from power. The unrest was driven largely by Generation Z protesters demanding change over governance and economic hardship. Military Commander Michael Randriarina is now reported to be in control. Analysts say the events highlight a growing trend of youth-led movements challenging governments worldwide. Observers warn other African leaders facing unemployment, rising living costs, and public anger may now come under increased pressure from younger populations. Tiwa Savage has launched the Tiwa Savage Music Foundation in partnership with Berklee College of Music to train 100 emerging Nigerian creators in Lagos. The fully funded 4-day program scheduled for April 23 to 26, 2026 will cover songwriting, production, sound engineering, publishing, and entertainment law. Outstanding participants may earn scholarships to Berklee or online study opportunities. Savage says the initiative aims to give young Africans access to world-class music, education, and build a stronger, sustainable music industry in Nigeria. Egypt has allocated EGP 80 billion in its 2026-2027 budget to boost production, manufacturing, entrepreneurship, and exports. Finance Minister Ahmed Kochuk says the package includes EGP 48 billion for export rebates, EGP 6.7 billion for tourism, and 6 billion in financing for productive sectors. Total spending is projected at 5.1 trillion. While revenues are expected to reach EGP 4 trillion. The budget also increases funding for food subsidies, healthcare, education, housing, and wheat purchases, while targeting low debt levels. And that brings us to the end of today's news update. Before we go, a recap of our main headlines. Djibouti President Ismaïl Omar Guelleh secures 6th term amid criticism over democratic space. You are not alone. Pope Leo XIV delivers message of hope to prisoners in Equatorial Guinea. South Africa inflation ticks higher as education and housing costs rise. Second set of rare gorilla twins born in DR Congo reserve Goma, DR Congo. For continuous coverage and breaking developments, stay connected with the Papyrus Global Television at papyrusdaily.com. I am your host, Christiana Babayu. Thank you for watching. Have a safe and informed day.